guys, so I thought I would share about my tips about derma rolling. I started about like 4 years ago now, and since then, I've been so impressed by like how it's helped with my acne. I used to break out all the time, and you can see I still break out here and there, but it has gotten so much better over time. And also with fine lines, since I'm 28 now, it's been doing a pretty good job because I'll have a line like start up here, but it's not too noticeable right now, or at least I don't see it. But yeah, so when I started off with 25 millimeters, and the reason why I started off with this size is because it was just enough to start doing something, but it wasn't too intense, because this is something with derma rolling you have to build yourself up to. Yeah, especially if you're not using, like myself, I don't use anything to necessarily numb the pain besides ice. And if you're sensitive to pain, I would definitely keep that in mind, since it's more. Since this can be painful if you're not used to it. Oh, one thing I want to mention is dermablading is one of those things that you have to learn how to do it correctly. I should probably do a video about that, or let me just do it included now. Okay, with dermablading, there's one thing I've noticed is that take your time. Don't rush it. If you go too fast, you can cut yourself. You can have issues. Take your time, and also when you go over an area, that's it. Don't keep going over the same area over and over and over again. You can if you're going very lightly, but if you're actually going over the area and like intentionally going over it, I wouldn't suggest going back over it again and again, since you're going to be taking off more skin than you might intentionally want to be taking off. So I talked about that. Oh, next, once you have built up to using 25 millimeters in that, and once again, this you can use all over your face. I would suggest you can even use it on your eyes. I use 25 on my eyes too, 0.25 millimeters, excuse me. Under my eyes, it's been fine. And yes, with a light hand, I'll use a half a millimeter. I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit more. I just used it tonight. That's the reason why it has alcohol in it from after me cleaning it. With cleaning my products and in general, 75% is just enough for when it comes to alcohol. And then for actually cleaning my face, normally I will start off with, I'll clean my face twice. I'll cleanse my face twice, and yes, sometimes I'll even do 3 times, since I really want to make sure my skin is completely cleansed and ready. And then I'll exfoliate with baking soda to make sure there's anything that's left on my skin, it's off. And then afterwards, right before I'm about to start rolling or dermablading my skin, this is for both, I will use hydrogen peroxide, and I will clean my skin before and also after. Because I've noticed that cleaning my skin before I start is good, but once I've done everything, to make sure everything is absolutely clean, just lightly tapping my face with some hydrogen peroxide has helped prevent anything from possibly erupting, since I do have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so I'm very sensitive and infection can happen very easily to my skin. I do try to take an extra step of precaution to prevent infection from occurring. I'm trying to think what else I should add in, but like I think this is like the main thing. Like, oh, the half a millimeter you can use on your eyes. If I didn't say it correctly before, I would just use a light hand. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Especially if you're like starting out. Also use ice. If you don't want to use actually something to numb your face, ice is amazing. just hold it in the area that you're gonna work in that right beforehand. Like normally, I like to section my face and like I'll do around my mouth, I'll do my nose, one side of my cheek, another side of my cheek, under eyes and forehead. I'll work in sections. So if I'm going to do my under eye, I will ice that area out and make sure it's nice and cool and ready to go. So when I do actually start rolling my under eye, it's not as sensitive. And the same with anywhere else in my face. I like to use ice since it gives me that numbing effect without giving me unnecessary side effects. Since when I tried using like lidocaine on my face before, I actually had an allergic reaction to it. So just using ice has been fine for me. But at the end of the day, it's what works for you and whatever you're comfortable with. And all these tips and tricks are just for you to use as long as they help you and if you want to use them. But it's up to you at the end of the day. And I hope that this was helpful and was informative. Okay, bye. Okay, so there was a few things that I forgot to include in the video. So here I'm doing it now. With rolling, if there's one direction you go is up, never down, always up. Because with pulling your skin in the wrong direction, it can cause a lot of damage. For example, like I'll move up to the side a little bit and just keep moving up, but it's always an upward motion. Yes, I'll go in other directions too, like I'll go to the sides, but mainly it's up. You never want to be pulling your skin down, ever. Never, never, never. And then I was going to talk to you about after I do my face, get it all done. Normally I like to follow up my skin with using, first I'll prep it again with hydrogen peroxide, because you can bleed possibly with rolling, so I like to make sure that my skin's extra clean afterwards. And then I won't tone my face because I feel like my skin is so sensitive. Using a toner can be a little bit too much, so I'll just follow up with using my serums. I'll use a low hyaluronic acid, and then I'll follow up with a high hyaluronic acid because molecular weights work differently. The low is better for like wrinkles, and like high hyaluronic acid, the molecular weight on that size of the high hyaluronic acid. Excuse me, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Sorry. It's mainly for like healing, and like especially since after rolling, your skin's a little sensitive, needs a little bit of time to heal. That's what I use, and it's helped my skin phenomenally. And then afterwards, I'll follow up with a little bit of moisturizer just to make sure. I shouldn't say a little bit. I like to basically slug my face all the time, and even like after I'm done rolling my face, I'll slug it again. Oh, with hyaluronic acid, before putting it on, make sure your skin is damp or wet. Make sure there's a good amount of moisture on your face, because it only works and it's only helping your skin if it's on wet skin. If you're putting hyaluronic acid on dry skin, it's not going to help your skin as much as if you had water. And then the last thing I was going to say is I'll put my reusable patches on. I'll do my under eyes and then around my smile lines, and then on top of all that, I will put a white face mask, one of those like disposable ones, and I'll just wet it to make sure my skin kind of stays extra moist for that period of time. And then the moment that the white mask is dried or starting to get too dry, I'll take it off. Don't wait until it's completely dried out, because you don't want to be sucking moisture out of your skin. You want to keep making sure there's moisture still in your skin. And that's why keeping the mask on when it's still damp, and then taking it off as soon as it's not really damp anymore, it's the best way to go, at least in my opinion. I've noticed the best effects with that, because if I wait too long, it seems like my skin feels drier in the long run. And then for my lips, since it doesn't actually cover my lips, and I know there's like other products on the market, but honestly for my lips, I just like to use a wet paper towel. I'll like rip off a little piece and just put it right over my mouth, And honestly, my lips turn out beautiful afterwards. And yeah, because I'm like, I'll leave that little mask on my face, let it do its thing, and then I'll say like the longest I'll leave it on is like a half an hour, and then after that my skin's basically done and it's looking plump and healthy and free of lines and acne, because yes, it helps so much if you're struggling with acne, if you're trying to work off some lines. I would suggest derma rolling. It's amazing. It does take some time to get used to. It can be time consuming, it can be costly, but if you're looking to help your skin, I would suggest it 100%. But it's all what you're comfortable with and what works for you. And there's probably going to be some trial and error figuring out what works for you and what's right for you. And I hope this was all informative and helpful. And all of the products I've talked about below, and I've mentioned, I'll have listed below. So if you're interested in them, you can purchase them yourself or get a little bit of information about what the product is like and more information for yourself. And I encourage you to do your own research and find what works for you. If like what I'm using may not work for you, but it's all what's right for you, and use what's right for you. And I hope this was informative and helpful. And thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this video and give it a thumbs up. Okay, bye.